Hi everybody, good afternoon. How are all of you today? Today is the starting of the MCOs. Hope you all are either working from home or safely at the office. Okay, no fuss. Today we are going to be talking about something that is very relevant to this pandemic because it's about stress. Whether you are at home since you're not able to go out anywhere ataupun you're stressed at work because you're balancing between the family at home and also at work. So I think we can all relate to stress very well. So with us today on Doctors Go Live, we've got Resident Medical Officer from the Emergency Department of Columbia Asia Hospital Klang, Dr. Logavani Nadarajah. Hi, Doctor.
Hi everybody. I'm Dr.
Hi, how are
Loga
you?
here. I'm good.
You're
How are you? Yeah.
fine, thanks. Fine. I'm at the house, so
All
a little
right.
color
Yeah.
here.
Starting off the
Yeah.
MPO game, definitely.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so today's topic we're going to be talking about how to manage stress. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
something which is very relevant to everyone.
Yes, that's true. Not just yourself and myself. I think everybody, lah, especially if you are working under a very stressful deadline, very tight deadlines, or very
Exactly. It happens at work, at home,
yes,
everywhere.
correct.
Stress,
Yeah,
more what
yeah,
the pandemic has caused everyone to feel stressed in
yeah.
certain way. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, that's true. There's a lot of pressure, lah, because you need to keep a tight shape while all this is going on. Okay.
Yes.
First and foremost, let's just go straight into the definition of stress. How would you describe stress?
Okay, stress is actually everyone looks at stress at a different way, lah. So what happens is the stress develops in everybody when we could not cope with certain kinds of pressure placed on us. So if there's excessive pressure, so we react towards it, and that's when we can't cope toward it, and we feel stress. So every individual is different. Everyone's threshold for stress is actually different. So it's for example, a task is given to you, and for example, that one person could manage it in a different way, the others couldn't. So everyone has their own threshold of actually managing stress, basically. If you can't
Yeah.
cope with it, that's when you start feeling stress.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look at the next slide.
Yep. So as I said, stress occurs when
Formula.
pressure is greater than resources, when you can't cope with something, and that's when you start feeling stress.
All right.
All right, next.
It's interesting that you got this formula, macam formula mathematics.
Yeah, it's a formula by Hans Sire. He's actually the father of stress. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you made that up.
Yeah, he came up with this definition of how stress gets into people towards their daily life, towards their emotions and reactions towards it. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we take a look at it again?
Yeah. Can go
The
back.
previous slide. Stress equals to the one that is
Yeah,
before.
it's like an equation of stress. Stress occurs when the P is for pressure greater than resource. R. Yeah.
Okay. Resource. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you'd like to explain that in the following slides, lah. What exactly are the sources of pressure?
All right. So I'll just talk about what's about feelings of being stressed.
Okay.
So when you're being stressed, it's actually very negative towards us. You can see all these feelings here, all something very negative, not something positive. So
Yeah.
it begins with you start being very worried, you get very tensed up, you get tired, you get frightened, anxious, anger, all this you can see all something very negative. And the list just goes on. And end of the day, someone gets into depression. So actually, it all starts with our emotions. It all starts with stress. So if we can handle stress at the beginning, we can actually avoid all these kind of feelings and all these kind of other mental disorders like depression. So it starts with stress. Yeah. So next. So as I said, the father of stress. So what he said is that it's not stress that actually kills us. It's our reaction towards it. So if we react in a proper way, in a positive way towards stress, you wouldn't have this kind of bad effects towards us. Yeah.
Meaning there are people who can actually handle their stress. So that's why you see them in very very rigid environments, but they look quite relaxed.
Very cool, calm. Not and stress. I think everyone has actually undergone stress. If they say no, I would say that is actually a lie. Everyone would have went through the position being stressed. Just that it all depends on how you want to control it, how you can cope with it. Yeah. So today I'm going to tell you a bit of it, just a gist of it, how we can do it anywhere
Okay.
at home.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's carry on.
So this is actually a stress curve and phases, a general adaptation syndrome of how stress can become from good to bad.
All right.
So this is the green slot here says that it's in a good health when someone is normal. And when you start having certain effects of stress, so the alarm stage comes in where some people actually bounce back, some people don't. So when you can't focus, you can't actually adapt to the situation. At the time, you become into the bad stress and you become panic, and the exhaustion stage comes in, and that's when you start having symptoms. There are a few types of symptoms which I would like to explain after this. Next slide. Okay, yeah. So before I go there, stress, there is good and bad thing about it. So if you know, for example, if you're given a task to run 100 kilometers now, you're given a competition. So that particular person is actually undergoing certain amount of stress to run, you know. So it's actually a good thing because stress gives you energy, you get more focused, and you actually can go through the challenge. So that is actually the positive side of stress. It's also still a stress response. So when you actually can't cope with it, and that's when it turns into a negative stress. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you
Next.
later
So this
about
is actually the stress response, as I said just now. So, for example, you're given a task like running, or you're okay. For instance, you see a dog. If you're scared of a dog, the dog is standing in front of you. So it's either you stand there, you stand ground, you defend, you preserve, or you just stand by yourself. Or if you're really scared of the dog, you run away. So that is actually like how we look at our problem. You want to stand there, you want to go through it, or you just want to walk away. So that's how a person actually reacts towards stress.
okay. So which the one that would be recommended? Would it be to
Okay, it
stress
depends
or
on individual. It depends on how you can cope with it. There is goods and there's pros and cons in both ways, definitely, to stand there or to go away. So it depends on the situation, it depends on the problem that we have also at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. So this is actually the response that we get, the systemic response, which we don't realize that we are having it actually. It happens whenever you undergo some stress.
Oh, I see. So these are the physical changes that happens when you start feeling stressed. Oh, I see.
Which you actually wouldn't realize it's happening inside of you. It's controlled by some hormones inside of us, a systemic response.
You can't see it. Can externally can someone see this in us?
Exactly. Someone can see it because we have. Yeah, as working in the emergency department, I've got many patients coming in facing this kind of problems when they start feeling so heavily. Yes, because actually it all starts with a problem called stress. Yeah.
Right.
So as you can see, their pupils get dilated, perspiration, they start breathing really fast, sweating.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's not just from your patients, patients, family and friends also. The ones who emergency also stressed out.
Correct. Yes. So, and you become, Sorry, I can't.
Sorry. Oops.
Hello. Yes. Hi.
Seems that we're having a bit of a connection problem. Okay, we're back.
Connection problem probably.
And we're gone again. Dr. Loka, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. One second.
Connection problem. Okay, we're back. Do you want to run through this list of systematic response?
Yeah.
It's either we see the slide or we see Dr. Loka. Okay, now we see both.
Yeah. All right. So as I said just now, pupil dilatation, perspiration, increase of your heart rate. If heart rate is more than 100 or more than 90, we say it's a bit high. Then your blood pressure rises for no reason. You don't even have to have a medical problem prior to that, but the BP can just shoot up. Yeah. Then you start having rapid breathing. There's something very common we see. They start having very shallow breathing. Yeah. So once you breathe very shallow, then you can have all kinds of like complication out of it. Then your muscles gets really tensed. Then increase in mental alertness. You get panic. You get shocked of everything. So what happens is if someone were to see you in that kind of condition, for example, your family members, they see you breathing like that, you're feeling so down and everything. So what they do is they bring you to the hospital, definitely, because they think that something is really not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stress is actually not in the mind, like some people think that, oh, okay, stress is just, you can snap out of stress because it's all in the mind, but actually it has all these physical effects.
Yes, it does. It does, definitely.
Yeah.
But not everyone has all the symptoms. Some people don't.
Mm,
Some people do, because every individual is different. Yeah,
I
definitely.
see.
Everyone is different. Yeah. So
Okay.
we go to the next slide. Yeah. So the symptoms of being stressed.
Okay.
So I've already broken it down to these few symptoms: mental symptoms, behavioral symptoms, emotional symptoms, and lastly, the stress-related illnesses. Yeah. So let's go one by one.
What's mental symptoms?
Yeah, so that if you go to the next slide, I'll just elaborate it a bit over there. So yeah, mental symptoms is something where,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, here.
Mental symptoms. Okay.
So
All right.
the stress, where the stress actually affects you mentally, it affects
Mm,
your mind, your mental status.
mm,
So what happens, it shows at work. You can show it at work, or you can show it at home, you can show it to your
yeah,
family, your friends. When you start having lack of concentration,
I
memory
see.
lapse, you start forgetting simple things, then you can't make a simple decision, you start feeling very
Mm,
confused, then you get
mm. Yeah,
disorientated and panic
yeah.
attacks. So these are all effects on your mental status when you start feeling stressed. Next, we go to the behavioral symptoms.
Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. Thank you.
All right. So something we can see here, very common,
Mm,
appetite changes. Some tend to eat a lot when they are stressed, and some tend not to eat at all when they are stressed. So everyone is a bit different in this way. Like, you look upon me, I tend to eat more when I'm stressed. Yeah. So I think everyone has their own preference.
yeah,
And binge eating, we call it as binge eating, right? Like eating popcorn, eating cropo or something from the TV.
yeah,
And
yeah.
all you know is that you're actually feeling a bit stressed.
Right.
Yeah. So again, eating disorders, as I said about eating changes of appetites. Then those smokers, those alcoholics, they tend to do it more. Like, you can see a man usually smokes about 10 cigarettes a day, probably. Then he starts smoking like a whole box of it. It's all because probably he's stressed.
Do these
Then
things actually help when manage stress?
not really. That's why all these are actually a bad way of managing your stress.
Negative lah. Okay.
Yeah, it's all a negative way of managing your stress. In
All
fact,
right.
if you smoke more, or if you like, as we know, excessive smoking, excessive alcohol intakes,
Yeah.
it can actually harm to your body. It can cause you to have even more major problems, like other medical problems, which I will be talking after this as well.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And you can see people biting
Hypochondria.
the lip. Yeah.
So hypochondria, can you describe that? That's actually something along the lines of thinking you are sick all the time, or that
Yes, correct. Which we get it all the time as well. Yeah,
yeah,
they
the
think
little
that they are sick.
fever, cough.
Uh,
Yeah.
they think that they are sick, then they just come to us to seek medical attentions. But they're doing the right thing at the same time. They are seeking for the right treatment. They want to know what is wrong with them. So when they come
Mm.
to us, we do see them, but checking on everything will be normal. We have many patients actually, and everything is going to be normal. So we just know that it's probably some hypochondria thing
Yeah.
going on, where they feel they are
Yeah.
sick, but they are not. And trust me, it's all because of stress.
Yeah, maybe actually because it's also during this pandemic, people could be
Exactly.
uh,
Yeah.
they, they could possibly suspect this, that, and the other, and think that it's a symptom of COVID.
Yeah,
That
exactly. Many. Yeah, like a slight cough, or yes, definitely cough
yeah,
it is a symptoms of COVID-19, but a slight cough, although there's no fever, they're just coming to us, they get panicked, they get scared. But it's good to be rather panicked than in this kind of situation than not being, bothered about what you're having. I think it's still a good thing when you come to us to seek to what's
yeah,
going on.
just have some caution.
Precaution, correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. Let's take the next one.
Yeah.
Emotional
So
symptoms.
emotional symptoms. So anger. One of it is definitely anger. You tend to show your anger towards everyone around you when you
Yeah,
can't cope with your stress. fits of rage, then impatience, you just become very impatient, and tearful, you start crying, you just don't know why you're actually crying about something. You get
Yeah.
very emotional, and deterioration of your personal hygiene, appearance, you really don't care about how you look anymore. You're just very emotionally disturbed, basically. And last of all, it's feeling depressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Later I'll be talking a bit about depression because stress is actually the initial stage of depression. It starts with stress,
Right.
and then it gets to this depression, which is actually a medical problem. It's actually a mental
Oh,
health disorder. Yeah.
yeah. Stress can also affect us physically. I mean, it can present itself in actual ailments or sickness.
Yes,
I'm just
definitely can.
okay. So that's what I'm
So
going to take a look at.
yeah. So when you start feeling stressed, you can actually start falling sick.
Mm.
Yeah. It actually triggers a lot of hormones in our body, and you start feeling all kind of effects. As I said, right, your BP gets high, your heart rate gets high. So when all this actually fluctuates and get a bit haywire, you can start falling sick, and it
Mm.
affects you. We go to the next slide. It's actually in my next slide. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, get
Wow.
into some cardiovascular diseases. We get patients coming in with chest pain,
Mm.
difficulty in breathing. It's actually exacerbation of your cardiovascular problems because stress actually can induce heart problems, heart attacks. It can induce.
I see.
Uh, yeah, immune system diseases like autoimmune problems. You can see like, okay, immune system diseases, for example, you can get fevers, you can get coughs. So when you get a bit too stressed, your immune system drops down, and to a
Oh, I
certain
see.
level, you start falling sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So asthma, diabetes, or sugar gets a bit too haywire, gets a bit too high, and very
Right.
commonly we see gastritis.
Mm.
Yeah. So when you're a bit too, when it's stress and all, there's a lot of acid secretion in your stomach,
Right.
and people might think that that the particular person is actually making it up and everything, but actually no.
Mm.
When you're a
Yeah.
bit stressed, you have a lot of acid secretion in your stomach. So
Mm.
that actually can cause and trigger gastritis, something which we see quite commonly as well.
I see.
So if gastritis, it is not really treated, then it develops into ulcers. Then also we see skin disorders, dermatitis. Patients actually have this
Yes.
eczema. It turns out to
Mm.
be flares of eczema. You start feeling very itchy. And all you know is that you're actually feeling stress. Stress is actually the contribution to this kind of problems. Then we go on headaches. Headaches, I think, is something very common. We
Quite
get.
common. Yeah. Right.
We get headaches. Then for ladies, we get our PMS syndromes. We
Mm.
get very
Yes.
tired, all this. And last of all, like I said, is depression. Yeah. So these are the physical stress-related illnesses which everyone actually can think of. We can get it one day. Yeah.
Sometimes I think because I know someone who gets hives, and apparently when she went to see the
Right.
doctor,
Yeah.
it has something to do with stress, which is at first like, oh, how would stress affect your skin? But actually, it does because there's quite a few these physical illnesses that
Yes.
here. So
Yeah. It's
yeah.
actually all a response. Our body responds towards it. If you can't cope with it, here you go. We show you on your skin. It comes out.
I
Yeah.
see, I see. And
Not
if you
everyone.
are able to manage it, if you're able to manage your stress, then it will not
In a way, I hope it wouldn't because
mm,
we have seen there's many like statistics saying it, many studies saying it that it all depends on how you can cope with your stress. So if
okay.
you cope in the right way, probably you wouldn't even get all this.
Okay. What you said
Yeah.
just now was very interesting regarding immunity, about how if you are stressed out, your immunity tends to
Yes. So when you're a bit too stressed, it actually
yeah,
drops your immune system little bit because you tend not to
yeah.
really take care of yourself. You tend not to eat healthy things. You tend to like binge on something, or you tend to do
Mm,
something very negative. You won't have enough sleep. You start thinking of a lot of things, caffeine intake. So all these
mm,
kind of things can actually bring down your immune system
right.
in a way. So what happens is you tend to get this kind of like illnesses, like something common. We get common cold, they start sneezing,
Mm, yeah.
and we get some fevers. So all this is actually related to stress. some people, not everyone, but most of the time, it still can be this, or it still can be a bacteria or a viral causing it to be as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Shall we take a look at the next slide? Okay.
So it's like so after this, I'm going to talk about how can we combat stress.
Yeah.
So this is actually a simple, the ABC strategy, something which is very simple for everyone to understand, I think. So it starts with awareness, balance, and control. So awareness is actually, if we can know what is causing us to feel stress, is actually good. So the first point, the end point of it, that what is the reason for us to feel stress? There's definitely something there. And how do we react with, how do we react? Do we get angry? Do we get like emotionally disturbed, or how do we react? It's something very important. So that's why I put it as awareness. Okay. And then next we go to balance. There's actually a fine line between positive and negative stress. So if we can differentiate that line there, so our positive stress wouldn't go into the negative stress. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about the ABC.
So that's balance.
How do we, balance. And the slide just moved. Can I have a look at the slide again? Yeah. So how do we cope with our negative stress again, as I said just now? I'll be showing certain methods after this, which is something very simple, which all of us can do it. And lastly, control is what we can do to help ourselves combat the negative effects of stress. Like as I said just now, all the effects of it, the emotional impacts, the behavioral impacts, what can we do? So I'll be still showing in my few slides after this.
Okay.
All right. So this is something to reduce stress at work. I've actually simplified it towards work, but since everyone is working from home now, so you actually can do it at home as well. You don't have to be at work to do it. It combats stress anywhere. All right. So there's 6 simple steps where everyone can follow. Yeah. Okay. So next slide. Okay. So first of all, forming a positive relationship. It comes at your workplace or at home, anywhere, your friends, over the phone. So forming a positive relationship is very important. And there's a saying that if your problem is shared, your problem is actually halved. So sharing your problem with someone, get things out of your chest, you can actually feel a bit better. There's some people where they don't like to explain don't like to share their problems. They feel that it's a bit embarrassing. They feel that telling people their problem is actually something which is going to make them feel low in life. But actually sharing your problems and your thoughts with someone is actually something good.
Yeah, you just need to let it out.
Let it out. Yes, venting it out. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And developing friendships and with your co-workers, having a good place, a good and friendly, safe environment at your workplace is something also very important. And lean on your friends and your family for support is something also I would say it's very, very important, especially at the pandemic.
Yes. The communication going now, whether it's video calls and whatnot.
Yes, true. So next, as you can see, number 2 will be exercise. Yeah. So there's no reason to not do exercises, although yes, it's a PKP, it's an MCO going on now. We can't go out from the house, we can't go to the gym. So there's actually no reason. You can actually do exercise at home.
Right.
Yeah. You just need to have an exercise mat. And there's many exercises going on YouTube, on Facebook, social media. So exercise actually lifts up our mood. As I said again, when we do these exercises, certain hormones actually involved in our body, and it increases our energy and sharpens our focus. So we get more focused and we get very energetic and we feel happy end of the day.
Yeah.
So exercising is very good.
Yeah, you do feel good after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And exercising recommended is actually 30 minutes, at least 3 to 4 times a day.
Cardio? Would that be
anything? Strength, cardio, anything, something, anything which actually is comfortable for you. And age doesn't matter. Even a 60-year-old lady or man still can do exercises, I think. I think it's something anyone can do. age doesn't matter for exercise. Something light. And I also have this question. Someone comes and asks me, is sweeping the house and mopping the house, is it exercise? Yeah. So actually,
Yes,
it's
I would
not.
say yes. Very much. If you try and
So,
see the whole house, if you sweep and mop, you'll be sweating from head to toe.
yeah.
That's
So exercise is actually something done continuously. You
yeah.
need to actually have that certain peak of your heart rate to have the effects of exercising.
I see.
Yeah. So that's the difference of exercise, I think. So and
Okay.
then yeah,
What
going
about
on
you?
for
What
a
kind of
walk.
exercises? What kind of exercises do you do?
Me, okay, I've been very laid back for the past few months. I'm starting back now. I do more on cardio and strength. As I said, I gave you all the clues. YouTube, there's like so many videos over there. You don't have to spend your time out there. And
That's
I know
true.
being a mother, being at home, you have to focus on your family and everything. So you can
Yes.
just do it at your own place, own time, at home. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think
That's
it's
true.
something very, very, I think it's good. We feel better, we feel healthier, we feel happy after that we did something for
Yeah.
ourselves, exercising. Yeah. All right. So let's go to number 3. Yeah, eating healthy, nutritious food, uh, reducing on sugar consumption.
Yeah.
Because when your sugar gets too high, you actually feel very tired. Your energy crashes.
Oh,
So
I
let's not
see.
take too much of sugar. Yeah. So
You
we
mean
need to cut down on.
if you take if you eat sweet things with high sugar content, that will actually make you feel worse.
You can get very tired if your sugar is too high. I mean, too much
Oh,
of sugar. If you realize if you take too much of
yeah.
cakes, like for example, cake, if you eat too much of it,
Yeah.
you tend to
Yeah. Yeah.
feel bit, a bit like very tired. You get very like lazy after that because it's all because of the sugar in your body. So too much of sugar is not very good. It actually reacts on your insulin levels and all. So we don't want to take too much of sugar. Should limit on your sugar
Yeah.
intake. Yeah,
Right. Because
and eat more
sometimes when people feel stressed out, they tend to reach out for ice
sugary
cream,
stuff. Correct.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Something that makes
So
them
these are
feel
the
better.
ways, yeah, because emotionally you will want to crave something sweet, but it
Yes,
has
that's
a
right.
lot of negative impacts on our health later on.
Right. So
So
don't over.
why not? Yeah. So you can take something sweet, but there is like certain like okay, there's many things out there to actually to replace your sugar. You can take something
Mm,
more healthier. Yeah, you can read
yeah.
about that. So many other things out there. Yeah,
Okay.
and then eating more omega-3 fatty acids to improve your mood. So this
Mm,
actually, there's a study saying that omega-3 fatty acids actually just increase your mood to feel happier. It actually,
mm.
at the end of the day, it
Wow.
actually secretes certain hormone called as endorphins. So you start feeling
Yes.
a bit
Feel
this
good
kind of
hormones. Yeah.
yeah, you feel good
I see.
hormone. Yes, correct. Yeah. So what food actually contains omega-3 fatty acids is like fish, any types of fish, salmon, almonds, olive oils, all this
Mm,
something which is healthy for us. So also actually has very high in omega-3 fatty acids.
okay.
Then last of all, avoid stimulants like coffee,
Mm,
caffeine, any types of caffeine or
yeah.
nicotine. I know it's hard, but it's recommended. You can still take about 2 to 3 grams of coffee a day, but not more than that. So if you actually
Mm,
take excessive, like there's some people, as I know, they actually drink a lot of coffee. They can drink up to like 3 to 4 cups of coffee to stay awake, to cope with their stress at home, at work. So it's not something advisable because end of the day, you're going to be so dependent on that, and it also affects on your body, your health, your blood parameters, and all. So it's not something advisable.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean in my opinion, like if we're so stressed out, we just need to think back to this talk with you, and so that we can recall you saying how all these things can be bad for you. Like you reach out for a cigarette or you reach out for uh, dessert. Because they don't equate feel good eating to
Yes.
their moods with
Yes.
healthy stuff. It's not usually almonds or vegetables or fruits. It's always ice cream lah,
Yeah.
those type of comfort food lah.
But it's something which always it's available in our house. Something which is always
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Of healthy food, we hardly see it at home, right? We see something like biscuits, chocolates, ice cream,
Yeah.
something which is easy to whatever we can get easily, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So just my advice: try to eat something more healthier. There's always an option. You can choose a better option. Yeah,
Yeah. Or we can prepare something healthy in the fridge, which is
yeah,
yum at the same time also
yeah.
healthy. Just in case of stress emergency. So
So let's go and get
have
that.
it. Yeah.
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 Yes. So number four will be getting enough sleep,
Yeah.
which is sometimes it's a bit difficult for working mothers, dads. I mean, when you have a small baby, or I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, it depends individually. It depends on every person. So
Yeah.
it's actually good to have like 8 hours of sleep. They said actually adults it's actually good to have like 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night.
Oh,
Yeah. And it's something which I really like here. It's like turning off your screen time 1 hour before you go to bed.
yeah, that's very good
Yeah.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah. But me myself, it's actually quite tough to do it. But I think
Maybe in
it
your
happens.
line of work.
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody. Like screen time is something everyone because actually at home now, being the MCO, we are all like stressed of
Yeah.
so many things happening around us and all. So we tend to
Yeah.
look at our phone. Most of the time we get a lot of information through our phone. True. We hardly
Yeah.
see someone opening up a laptop and looking for stuff. So it's all on your fingertips now, all in through your
Right.
handphone. Like social
Yeah.
media, news and everything. So just that if we can do it like 1 hour before bedtime, just not to see it, then you go to bed, you probably have a better sleep. Yeah. It's
Right.
not me alone saying it. It's actually statistics saying it, that it does help in improvising your sleep. You actually get into your deep sleep. We call it as a REM, your deep sleep. So you get into your deep sleep longer. Actually, I think we have realized that sometimes when we wake up fresh and sometimes we don't wake up fresh. It all depends on how good is your deep sleep.
Mm.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
we don't
that's
get
true.
into deep sleep, so we tend to not feel fresh in the morning. So it's a study saying that if you can just avoid screen times, TV or phones, just like 1 hour before you go to bed, you can have that longer duration of deep sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should all strive for that quality sleep,
Yeah.
nutritious food.
Yeah.
I get
Right.
a lot of complaints actually from especially working mothers because now that they are not at the office, they're at home. So at home they
Okay.
have to handle their children because children cannot be at the babysitters. They have to
Yes.
them. So there's their work and then there's also the children with their online learning.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
something
that's
very challenging, I think.
yeah. And if they don't have domestic help, then they've got to do the house chores.
Exactly.
Because it's no wonder that they are stressed out all the time. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I it's just something to share, lah.
Stress is something, yeah, stress is something everyone is facing nowadays because
Yeah,
of this.
especially now. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
It's a tough time which everyone is going through, but we hope we can go through it. We have to go through it. We have no choice. We just have to
Yes.
go through it.
Yes. We have
It's
to
how we
find
want
ways
to
to manage it.
find ways, how you want to manage it, how you want to cope with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the time that you can also find out how much of a superwoman you are. Because if you find that you can
Exactly.
everything
Yes.
at the same time, wow, that's
How you
awesome.
can multitask at one time. How many things you can do
Correct.
at one time.
Yes, yes, that's true. Because like you
True.
said, push comes to shove, kan? No choice, no
No,
option.
no options. You just have to go through it. Correct. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
this comes with prioritizing and organizing your work.
Yeah.
So I know now everyone is working from home, most of us. So it's like plan your regular breaks throughout the day. I know it's tough having children at home sometimes, but we
Mm,
need time for ourselves because only we know the point where we're going to break and the
mm,
point where we're going to hold.
yeah.
So we have to take care of that breaking point and that holding point. So breaks
Right.
throughout the day is something very important. Despite just having a cup of hot chocolate or just watching TV for yourself or something, just have a break. Yeah, a break is something very important.
Yeah.
Then prioritizing most of your important tasks and for
Mm,
projects coming up. So you have to like, if you can, try to like prioritize them and do it earlier so they don't have to rush into things. Last minute work actually can make you feel even more stressful.
yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing is that delegate your job. If you can't do it by yourself, do
Mm,
ask for help. because not everyone can do that certain task by themselves. They need help. If you
Yeah.
can ask help from people to help you, you don't have to feel ashamed about that because nobody is perfect. We
Yes.
all, yeah. So the sixth one, I think this is going to be the last one. I think kick your bad habits away.
Okay. Yeah.
So as I said, resist trying to be perfect with everything. You don't have to be. We're not perfectionists. We don't have to be perfect. Flawless, yes, but I'm sure everyone has ups and downs. We have to
Right.
drop down to get up one day. So it's good if you don't have to be perfect. You can do mistakes and think positively and don't beat up yourself for every little things. That if
Yeah.
you can't do that particular thing, that particular task given to you on the deadline, you can negotiate with your bosses or with your working colleagues that can I have a little bit more time? Given
Yeah.
you have to give them a reasonable reason indeed for them to actually give you some
Right.
time. I think possible. Talking, negotiating is something very possible. We can actually all cope with it. Yeah.
Okay.
And don't sweat over things out of your control. So as I said,
Yeah.
we all can manage things. We just have to like discuss, talk it out, and yeah. So kick all your bad habits away if you can. Yeah.
Dr. Loga, I'm sure in your line of work, especially because you are at the emergency department, things can
Yes.
get very stressful. So, what are your personal tips? What are the tips that you yourself apply whenever you're feeling the stress?
Okay, that's a very good question. I do feel stress a lot because me being the front liner, seeing patients, handling
Yeah.
COVID patients, COVID-19 patients, we actually get
Right.
many into our hospitals. I see them. The main stress factor, what I feel is that because I'm staying with my family, so I do have, I have my both parents are actually senior citizens. I have a child who's only a 2-year-old toddler. So I have a lot of things to think back. So if it's me alone getting infected, it's fine, but I'm going to spread it to everyone else. So
Yeah.
it's about how I'm coping with it is that, as I said, we have no choice. We just have to go through it. So it's that doing the right thing, thinking that what we're doing is right and coping with it. I do have certain times I break down, I start crying, I start really feeling very angry and everything, but we have to still look upon the good side of something. Not everything, if there's a bad side, there's also a good side of something. So let's not look at only at the bad side. Yes, COVID-19, it's a bad side, it's the pandemic, we all are suffering and all, but let's look at the good side of it as well. That we have more time to be with our family, we have choices to make, we can still not go out if we want to. The choice that we make, there's a choice given to you to stay at home or to go out. So it's a choice that we make. So for me, I feel that coping with this problem currently is that how we want to deal with it. So let's look at what good things. Let's look at the good side of it rather than the bad side of it. Yeah.
Okay. Just remain positive.
Yeah. Just remaining positive. Correct.
And
Yeah.
yeah, but don't beat yourself up if you can't.
Yeah. So as it's
I think
again,
sometimes about managing expectations also because you feel that a lot of people are relying on you and that you don't want to let them down. So you just out and then you realize that okay, you've come to a stumbling block and then you
yes.
get out because you cannot give what other people expect you to give.
Yes. So we just go with it, go with the flow, and just give out your best, basically. Just do what you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here, adapting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into a positive stress. So it all begins with ourselves, our attitude, our
Yep.
behavior, our
Yep.
perspective, our thoughts towards stress. Yeah.
Okay.
So
There you go. That's a little bit of a summary. Oh, you are going to share with us some breathing
yeah,
exercises.
breathing exercises, correct.
Okay.
Which you can do it anywhere, at
Mm.
workplace, at home, you're out at a restaurant or something, anywhere. You can actually apply this anywhere.
Okay.
So, okay, sorry about this slide. It's a bit too much of words in it, but it's actually an explanation on how breathing is done. Okay. So,
Okay.
have you seen a baby breathing?
Yes. Sorry, Dr. Loga, maybe we don't have to look at the slide. Maybe we can just put you in the main frame so that we can
Oh,
see
okay.
the
All
breathing.
right.
It is a lot better. There you go.
So,
Okay.
have you seen a baby breathing? So, the baby actually breathes through the abdomen. Like we adults,
Okay.
actually, we breathe through our chest.
Mm.
Yeah. So let's it's this breathing is called as abdominal breathing, where you
Okay.
actually inhale and you don't expand your chest, you actually expand your stomach, your belly.
Yeah.
So you let the air go in until your belly is actually expanded. So
Yeah.
let's do it together. Let's put one hand on our chest and one hand on our abdomen.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
So now let's take a deep breath. You take a deep breath, so you push out your stomach out.
Okay, let's do that, everyone.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Okay.
Push stomach out. Okay, got it.
Push stomach out, and then you let go. You must feel your stomach actually coming up, coming out. Yeah. So let's do that about 3 times. Actually, when you do this, you feel a bit calm.
You actually have to physically do this. Like it's not
Yes,
just do it
because
exactly this.
you wouldn't do it correctly. You have to actually put your hand on your abdomen and on your chest.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, some people when they feel stressed out, this is what they do. They're like,
Yeah, and they tend to breathe really
maybe that's
fast. They
why.
tend to really have shallow breathings where they breathe really, really fast, and
Yeah.
that's when
Yeah.
you start having the effects of being stressed.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is a type of breathing. We call it as an abdominal breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, just like how a baby is breathing. The baby is so calm, so composed. A baby. So yeah,
Wait till they grow up.
yeah.
Okay. So that's the technique. Okay.
That's a technique of one type of breathing. That's the abdominal breathing, and
All
there's
right.
another breathing which I'm going to show you after this,
Mm.
which is the concentration breathing. So it's actually similar to abdomen. Just that is not through your abdomen. That you just have to breathe up and down. So you can see that the peak and down. So the peak is when you inhale
Mm.
and then you exhale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
So
hold
you
your
just have
breath.
to you do that again. You just have to go through the waves up and down, up and down. Yeah. So this is called the concentration breathing. But I feel the most effective one compared to all these will be the next slide,
Mm.
which is the count breathing. This is something proven. Yeah. So as you can see here, the inhale and the hold is same. The count is the same. The exhale is longer.
I
Yeah.
see.
So it even can go by 4, 4, 6 or 4,
Yeah,
4,
yeah. I
5.
was going to say there are a few variations to this because I've heard of the 4-7-8 ones.
Yes, there's few variations, different types, but
Yeah.
it's just that your exhales need to be longer than your inhale and your hold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
And
is
the
what we
method
can
that you showed before this, sorry, about what breathing was it called just now? The method, the one with the graph? With the
that
graph?
one was the concentration breathing, where you actually concentrate on
Concentration
that
breathing, yeah.
graph.
I guess because we breathe all the time, but we're not aware sometimes. So it's just about being present.
Yes.
That's why it's called concentration breathing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you concentrate on your breathing.
Okay.
So
All right.
this is
So
like
yeah.
and this is the alternate nostril breathing, where you inhale in your right nostril
Mm-hmm.
and you out on your left. Then you in again on your left, and it's actually
Inhale.
you inhale, you
Inhale
out on
first
your
and
left.
exhale to the other side.
Yes. Then you keep the other side, you inhale towards your left side, and you out over your right side.
Oh, okay. In
Yeah.
right, left, in left, out, right. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the types of breathing we can do to make us feel a bit calm, a bit composed. Because when you're actually very stressed, without you realizing you'll be breathing very shallow, and you
Yeah.
start feeling very panic. You get very like you just get very anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these kind of breathings, when you start feeling stressed, you can start doing this kind of breathing. Just go to a
Yeah.
corner, just go to a side, just have
Mm.
some time for yourself. Just start breathing like this. You can
Yeah.
actually feel much better. It does effect. Yeah, you can feel actually very much
Maybe
better after that.
yeah. Maybe you could try all the methods and see which one fits you best.
Yes, correct.
Options, because I think so far we've just heard about just breathing and then hold your breath for a few seconds and then breathe out. But this one, really there are quite a lot of
A lot of alternatives.
you can
Yeah,
breathe to reduce stress. Okay, that's good. That's good.
yeah. All right, so that's about my
Great,
presentation.
great.
And
Thank you so much. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, now we've got quite a few questions, actually, quite a few messages from the audience. Okay, let's just see. Let's take a question or two. Uh, sorry. Okay. This is one from, I'm sorry, my eyes are quite bad. That's creating stress right now for me. From Hitama, can stress cause irregular period and imbalance?
Yes, definitely it can. We can see that there's an illness related to this. We call it as PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, something very commonly faced by many ladies out there. It's actually one of the causes. Is definitely stress. Stress is actually one of the symptoms. I mean, it's actually one of the causes to actually get you to have this kind of irregular periods and irregular imbalances of your hormones. Which end of the day you can get this kind of problems. So there is treatment for this definitely, but you have to seek the gynecologists to actually sort it out. Yeah,
But
and
once
to
you have managed
properly
your stress, once you manage
pardon?
your stress, it will go back to regular.
Okay, this happens when your stress level has been there for quite some time. It doesn't happen like just in one time. Yeah,
Overnight.
it
Yeah.
happens overnight. No, it happens like
Yeah.
probably for many years you've been having it, and end of the
Yeah.
day your body reacts to something, and this way you can actually have it. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the next question. This is from Miss Siti Akila Shaid. What is, oh, I really need glasses. Oh, thank you so much. Has posted it. Has
Yeah.
posted it on the screen. What is the difference between stress and
And
depression?
stress.
It's a nice one.
Yeah. Okay, so stress is okay. So as I said, stress is actually beginning symptoms. It starts with stress. So when stress actually we can't cope with stress and we start feeling very down, very low
Yeah.
self-esteem. We start feeling we have loss of interest on doing our normal chores, our normal
Yeah.
work, our normal daily life routine. You just want to keep it to yourself. You don't want to talk to people. You just want to be at home. You just don't want to eat, you don't want to take care of yourself anymore. And this all happens in the accumulation of time. We say it about like 2 or 3 weeks. So if it's
Yeah.
going on for some time, you see someone next to you, your friends, your family members, anyone, your working
Right.
colleagues, if anyone is undergoing these kind of symptoms, probably they're already undergoing depression. Yeah. And depression is actually something, especially in Malaysia, it's something actually people think it's quite embarrassing to talk about it, to actually treat it. They think it's something a shame. They feel very shy to talk about it. It's just on all our how we treat them, because not everyone can cope with stress the same way. Everyone has their own threshold, as I said. So let's not criticize them. Let's not bring them down. Let's all support each other. And moreover, on this pandemic, in this pandemic, everyone is actually undergoing a lot of stress and many suicide cases we can see. And it's actually started from stress, depression, and end of the day is that. So if you can have a good support system,
Yeah.
and if you see anyone feeling this kind of symptoms, please take them to the nearest hospital. Do seek your medical attentions. And there's
Yeah.
always treatment for this. Anyone can be treated for depression.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I think it's especially tough if you are single and you live alone. I think
Yes. Yeah.
that's not so bad if you've got a pet. And it's kind of hard to reach out to anyone because there's no one there. It's MCO, so there's hardly much that you can do. So, oh well, I suppose you can always practice some of the suggestions that Dr. Loga has mentioned just now about doing things that you like, and at the same time all the breathing.
Have a me time. Do something which you like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
having time. Gardening, for example, you don't have to go out, but it's right there.
Yeah. True.
Garden space, then you can get the small pots. There's always a way to
Yeah.
do things that you like. You just need to adjust it a little bit lah,
Yeah.
to
It has been my personal experience. It has been my dad's hobby now.
gardening. Yeah,
Actually
apparently
a
it's very
very outgoing
therapeutic.
person. Yeah, he always goes out. So now it's like it's the pandemic. He doesn't have to stay at home, so he does gardening. He's planted
Yeah.
few vegetables at home.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
a
something
lot
which
of
everyone
benefit.
can take out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at one last question from Mr. Aaron Liu. Normally, I push my chest. How can tummy? Okay, not sure
Okay.
what. I think this is
So
the breathing exercises.
yeah. So as I said, as I explained just now, so when you take a deep breath, you have to let go your stomach muscles. Don't make it tight. So
Okay, Mr.
eventually, when
Aaron, let's try that
yeah,
together.
up and down. So when you take a deep breath, just release your stomach. You can eventually feel your stomach coming out. Can you? It is going to be hard. It's not easy, but that's how it works.
Need to keep on practicing lah.
Yeah, keep on practicing, and eventually you can do it. Yeah. So you have to push your tummy out. That's the abdominal breathing. But it's something which is not very easy for you, then probably you can try the other types of breathing, like as I said, the concentration breathing or the count breathing. Yeah, something more easier.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I guess that's all the questions that we have for now. Sorry, let me just check. Oh, I think there is one more question.
One more question.
Sleeping difficulty. Okay.
How to overcome sleeping difficulty? Okay, this is something. Yeah, this is something very interesting, which everyone actually is undergoing.
Yeah.
Insomnia is actually something which we call as sleeping difficulty if it's already diagnosed. If you have seen a doctor and the doctor has diagnosed you as insomnia, so it's meaning that you do have sleep deprivation and you can't sleep properly at night. But how to overcome it at the initial stage? So as I said, so if we can, it's actually a routine. And you can, for example, like you see a child doing something like routinely playing, routinely eating, routinely sleeping. So it's actually falls under a routine, the cycle. So if we can come up with a cycle for ourselves, like you're sleeping on this time every day, if you can do it, it's good. Because eventually your body will tell you that this is what you have to do at this time of the day. You will eventually start falling sleepy. You will start feeling sleepy and you will fall asleep. So it's actually all in ourself, our biological clock. It's actually there. It's just that we have been disturbing it a lot. We tend to go out at night. We tend to like stay up late night and everything. So yeah. So it's all in ourselves. If we can bring that up again, we can actually set a routine for ourselves, what time we should do what at what particular time. Definitely we can overcome the sleeping difficulties. But if it's been done and it's still not helping, then probably you want to see a doctor. And there are medications for these, but we don't want to actually start them at initial stages. We actually try to give them certain other options because this can actually cause you to have dependency. Medications is something which you can cause you to be dependent on it. So we don't want that to happen. So if can, try to cope with your own self first, at certain other strategies. So if you can do it, exercising helps as well. You can try.
Yeah.
Routine, doing something routinely. So all this can actually help you to overcome your sleeping difficulty. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So there's quite a bit of suggestions that Dr. Logavani Nadarajah has shared with us. Again, she is the resident medical officer from the emergency department at Columbia Asia Hospital Klang, where I'm sure there's a lot of there are a few stressful experiences, because we really want to get the job done, and
yes.
Hopefully during this MCO we will all get through it safely, and will be able to handle stress better after this program.
Hope so.
Yes.
Hope so. I have actually helped some people. Hope so. I have given some options to everyone out there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very good, Dr. Luka. Thank you so much, because now that we know we've got to sleep better, eat better, and fill our time better, reach out to people. So very useful advice. Thank you again. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you everyone for joining